It's Thursday night, and we have a lot to unpack as we step into the new calendar year. Every 9 years, the universe gives us a reset button, and that button is the universal 1 year. The theme for 2026 is simple but profoundly identity. After the clearing energy of 2025, the universe is now asking you a very pointed question. Who are you now, and what do you want to build next? Tonight, we're looking at why 2026 is the ultimate year for innovation and personal empowerment. We'll discuss why this collective energy is pushing us to take initiative, explore our true desires, and plant seeds that will grow for the next decade. If you're feeling a nudge to start something new, tonight's show is a sign that the timing is finally right. Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning in for this new year. And so tonight, to help us bring in the new year, I am being joined by a special guest and good friend, Thomas Miller. Let me tell you a little bit about Thomas, and we will get him on the air. Okay, now it's going like a little too slow for me. Thomas Miller is an accomplished broadcaster, a narrator who launched his career anchoring the evening news while still in college. Today, he is a prolific audiobook narrator with over 45 titles, including a notable collections with Fred Dodson and Steve Forrest, and a published author on the subconscious mind and astrology. Despite struggling with self-confidence just a decade ago, Thomas has transformed into a leading voice in the astrological community. Tonight, he joins us to discuss the revolutionary celestial landscape of 2026, specifically a historic, never-before event that signals a profound shift in our global narrative. His website is hightimesliving.com. So please welcome Thomas Miller. Hey, Thomas, how you doing?
Hi, Dr. Rita. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Here we are. Woo! We made it.
We made it through 2025, but now we have 2026 to sit there and go, okay, so what's going to happen next? But I'm hoping you can share some insights, and I know you can't predict the future. And I know that when you talk about astrology, it can just give indicators, but it doesn't say, as my little colloquialism is, don't go out on Tuesday because you might get hit by a bus. It doesn't tell you that kind of information, but I think it does provide some insights, just like the numerological year, as far as what the vibration and what the energy of the upcoming year is going to be about, good, bad, or indifferent.
So, yeah, exactly. You mentioned something as you were getting started there that is critical, and that is that we have something big, huge over our heads right now that has never been there before. Most astrological databases that are good go back about 4,000 years, and it's not there. So we are talking about some big pivotal stuff that is likely to happen, as you were saying. We're not going to say anything specific, but we do have some directions.
So let me just, I'm an ancient history buff, but don't we have historical, maybe not ephemeruses, but, astrological stuff that goes back further in time than that? Or is it just
yes,
documented?
Just not documented. Yeah. Yeah, there's just a time window that these databases were filled out. And I guess they figured, well, if we go back 4,000 years, that's enough. Well, here's one that isn't there. There actually, I did read somewhere, and I can't remember where, that somebody did find one in the 4,000 to 8,000 range bracket. So I don't know how they came up with that, but you'd have to have the data, which is calculable. I mean, it could be. So at least for
I'm sure they could tell you.
Our hands on anybody who has some upper end astrology software, they're not going to find this.
Okay, so you're killing me here with the suspense. So what is it?
Well, it's something.
You don't have, like, you know, you're not talking about like Atlas 3I, you know, that's
no. This is real stuff. I do a daily podcast. It's called Fun Astrology. And it's a little quick snippet. Start your day. It comes out at 3 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday, typically. And we just take a quick look at the sky. I have a partner now that's helping me with it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, do Wednesday with her. So we've got a nice mix. And we're calling it the Great Pyramid, because if you just look on the chart, you know, you've got the wheel. And if you put it up at the top of the wheel, you get a real good visual. And there are two planets up at the top, and then there's one over here and one over here, and they're connected. So it looks like a little stubby pyramid. And since we do fun astrology, I just thought, well, that's the Great Pyramid. You know, let's make it big. Because, well, I mean, it is big because the two at the top are Neptune and Saturn. And that's the big deal. Those two are sitting at 0 degrees Aries.
So what is that for the lay person? What does Neptune control? What does Saturn control? And then what would it be being at 0 degrees Aries? Let's break that piece down.
I'm going to give you the quick shot, because we could spend an hour just right here. Yeah. 0 degrees Aries is when the zodiac begins, the spring season.
Think about that.
So people call that the world point. In other words, it is the marker. And you just mentioned we're starting another 9-year cycle. This is year 1 in numerology. We're starting this, it's new beginnings. It's amazing how you tipped me off to this, and I took a look at it. I was like, wow, Chinese astrology, numerology, and astrology are all just like this. I mean, they just overlay. It's complementary. They're all saying the same thing. So Saturn and Neptune, let's just walk back. The last time that they came together in the sky, it's called a conjunction in astrology. It's basically when they're sitting at exactly the same point. If you look at it in the sky, they look up in the sky like they're maybe about an inch or so apart. But that's how close they can get if you can see the two planets. Of course, you can see Saturn, you can't see Neptune here. But it's out there, and they are aligned and on the chart, they're right at the same degree. So when they last did this was 1989. What happened in 89, 90, 91? A particular wall fell in Europe. Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall, and the Soviet Union basically imploded. There was never a shot fired. And a whole new Baltic region of countries emerged, and an economic explosion that was incredible. There was an astrologer, his name was André Barbeau, French astrologer. He passed in 2019 at 98. He wrote an article in 1955 predicting the Soviet Union's collapse on that exact aspect in 1989. And the reason he did was he was born around the turn of the century. So he perceived, when he thought of Saturn, you asked, what does it mean? When he thought of Saturn, Saturn can represent old, stodgy governmental structures that are broken or that are controlling. Well, that was, to him, the Soviet Union. Today, we might look at some dysfunction in our own backyard, you know, and it's like, I mean, could that be what this represents this time around? The time before that was when Joseph Stalin died and Vladimir Putin was born. And the time before that was the Bolshevik Revolution. And then the year after that, the Spanish flu.
So having those be at that 0 point or 1 degree Aries, what does that signify? Because one of the other things I want to get into, and I just want to keep us moving here, is about Neptune moving into Aries, because you and I talked about that, and I was like, no way, no way.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that those planets are conjunct over Aries, 0 degrees Aries, and now we have Neptune actually moving into Aries. And so there was a lot of fire, and we have the fire horse. So there's a lot of fire coming in.
We get, the year of the horse, the fire horse, same thing. It's this very powerful, aggressive energy. If we broke these, and I want to bring in the other two that are on the sides, because on one side is Pluto, and that's the planet of transformation. And it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is very independent, don't tell me what to do, revolutionary kind of vibe. And over here on this side of the pyramid is Uranus, and it's moving into Gemini, which is a divided sign. In fact, the symbol for Gemini is the Roman numeral 2. It's split, it's divided, the twins. So when you put all of this together, Pluto was in Aquarius in the 1770s during the French and American revolutions. Saturn and Neptune was last in Aries the last time, because it takes 165 years to go around the sun. So the last time it was there was the early 1860s, the Civil War. Saturn has been in places of conflict like 1968 when we had all the campus riots and the Vietnam protests and all that. And Uranus has been in Gemini for every major American conflict, World War II, Civil War, and Revolutionary War. So when one of the things that you have to look at is, will there be conflict with this? Will there be military conflict, or maybe it's internal conflict? But there's conflict. And we know, I mean, we're a divided country. So even right now, it's playing out.
Well, and I think it's interesting with some of the information that come up, especially with that 1 year is about figuring out who you are. Like the 9 year was really about figuring out who you were and creating boundaries. And this new year, it sounds like it's about owning it and moving it forward and saying, this is who I am and this is what I want, not on necessarily a government level, but on a personal level too.
Well, I'm glad
there also.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because on the personal level, Andre Barbeau said that when he looked at this conjunction before he passed, and he wrote about it, he said that it is the most beautiful conjunction of the 21st century. Now, this guy was known as the greatest mundane astrologer, collective astrologer of our generation. So well respected. He said that this is going to usher in a new golden era for humanity. And he foresaw positive changes through challenges. So on the individual level, I think what we can be looking for is there is going to be stuff going on around us, and we're all going to have to figure out how we're going to navigate through that for ourselves. And that's something that only everybody can decide with their own spouse, family, considerations, etc. The other thing is that if Barbeau is right, and I think he is, and there's a astrological reason why, because all of these planets are connected with favorable aspect connections. Astrology is just geometry. You look at where a planet is and you look at where another planet is, and how far apart they are tells you if it's positive or challenging. And that's really it. You learn that, you got it. And so all of them are connected positively. That's why Barbeau would have said something like this. So we have this thing that has never happened. So we could say, there could be, a lot of people are talking about the Great Reset, or Dolores Cannon talked about the 4D and 5D and all that. I don't understand all of that. It really never resonated to me. But I do think that we are headed toward a higher spiritual level, because Neptune rules spirituality. Neptune rules fog and deception and lies and fraud. Saturn comes in like a wrecking ball and knocks it down. In other words, it exposes the truth.
Well,
That's
that
happening in the news right now. Do what?
Oh, we were like saying the exact same words at the exact same time. But is it Neptune that is moving from Pisces into Aries?
Yes.
So talk about that, because that I found really interesting.
Okay, this is fast. I love it. And I'm so, in one way I'm sad, and yet we have to move on. From about 2011, 2012, Neptune has been in its own sign. It rules Pisces. Liz Green is a British astrologer, brilliant. She wrote a book about Neptune, and she said that the main theme of Neptune is redemption. In other words, coming back to source, coming back to that breath of life that brought us into this life, into this incarnation. And it rules the sea. I've just been by the ocean for the last several weeks, and it's like the Lord of the deep, the stillness and yet the roughness of the sea down there where our answers are. If you've ever been diving, you look down into the deep blue and it's like, ooh, what's down there? Well, that's what Neptune takes us down into, that part of our own consciousness. It's about spirituality. It's also about false spirituality. But since 2013, one thing that we've had, and you parents who have kids that have been born since 2013 know that those kids are wired differently. They have some kind of a purpose about them. They have an eye. They have this look. They have this, it's all, I say to parents who have kids that have been born since 2013, get them to 16 or 17 and then get out of the way, because they have work to do. And as Steve Forrest, who I've done some books with, said, and along the way to a few drunks and alcoholics we'll have in there, because Neptune rules addictions. So we've got to have the balance, right? But no, we really do have a whole crop of young people that are coming in. And the early edge of that 2013, now they're getting into their teenage years. So we're going to start to see some of the things happening from these kids. And as they become adults, I mean, look out. Look at where you were. And I would just say to everybody, take a reflection for a minute. Look at where you were 12 years ago and look at where you are now spiritually. You mentioned how you and I met. I had no self-confidence at all. I wouldn't have gotten on here and done this, even though I'd been in broadcasting all the time, because I had been beaten down over the years of my adult life. All of my transformation happened during Neptune in Pisces. And I know you've worked with a lot of people, and a lot of the people who you know and are familiar with that are on here tonight. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way, too, that have grown immensely over these last 13 years. Well, now it's time to take that growth and where universe has brought us to this point, and now it's time to take it out there and really launch something and do something. And I don't think you're going to have to look for it. It will become obvious, or it will come to you. But one of the things is, spiritually, more than just being kumbaya, it's going to be time to get your direction, not so much through meditation, more through action. That's the difference when we move into Aries.
And this is something that we've talked about a number of times on this show, is about that listening part and separating out, like, I'm scared, and so ego is telling me I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do that, versus getting the prompting, just like what we were talking about before we came on air, and this prompting has been here, and now I'm going to act on that because that's spirit driving me forward. And I think a lot of people have moved into that, being able to, or at least starting to separate out, this is ego pushing me forward, and moving me through fear, versus this is where I need to go from a personal perspective.
Totally agree. If you've been doing the work that was presented over the last 13 years, you know now, or you should know more about intuition and knowing about how to hear that prompt, or just knowing when the nudge is there. And then instead of, oh, should I do this or not? get in action, because action is going to be where the clarity is going to come in the future. If you're sitting on the log, like we have for the last 13 years, journal in hand, Om, Kumbaya, all is well, I got it. Okay. But now it's like, no, get in action and you'll get your Kumbaya. But it's like, what's the next step? The next step. And a lot of times the next step will just fall right in your path too.
I'm sorry, you're cracking me up here.
Sorry. I forgot. This is a serious webinar. I'm sorry. I'll straighten up.
Right.
I'll remember fun astrology. We try to
somewhere.
Yeah.
Wait, not there. So let me ask you this, because, and not that you presented it with doom and gloom, but do you personally feel optimistic about where we're going? Are you a little hesitant? Are you in I'm just going to wait and see? Like, where are you at as you sit there and look at these indicators for the year coming up?
That's a great question. I think we are headed to higher spirituality, but you remember Einstein's line about you can't solve the problem with the same with mentality that created it. We're not going to fix what's around us. It's going to have to be taken down. Saturn is really good at that. Saturn in Aries is going to be really good at that. How many rumblings are you already hearing about? In Tehran over the last couple of days, like the last 72 hours in Tehran, the people are in the streets because their currency is collapsing and they're protesting the government because inflation is running about 40% right now. I had a buddy that I knew 20 years ago who came over here from South Africa after the Zimbabwe-Rhodesian collapse or change. He lost everything in 72 hours. I mean, you can't say that this stuff is not real. So I'm looking at this. Uranus is right now in Taurus. That's money. That's the financial system. Shake up, Uranus. All of the signs are there for, stuff is going to happen. And this is where I say is I think that everybody with this last little breath of Neptune in Pisces until January 26th, get your intuitive instructions and know in your heart what the right thing for you to do is right now. And this is definitely one foot in front of the next. You don't need the 5-year plan because it will probably change. The energy of the planet will change. So we can't predict out. Just get the next step for you. Doesn't matter what Dr. Rita's doing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. You need to make your own decisions. But then, I think after we clear the muck out of the way, that we're going to, right. There's a pattern here that also started back in 2020 when two other planets got together. It was Saturn and Pluto. And as we walk that back, it always has been a time of taking out what was corrupted and broken and bringing in something phenomenally better. And that's where I think if that history repeats, then we are going to Andre Barbeau will have been right that he's predicting the next 4 years being the greatest 4 years of this century.
Well, hell, I think Trump's been saying since 2023. Yeah. And we just have to get some stuff out of the way so that we can move forward. That's all. But here's the thing. Don't look around and attach to the energy of everything around you. That's why my website is hightimelineliving.com, because it's like, what are the things that can take us on our own high path? You stay in the high energy, even though the stuff is falling around. And if you've got the instructions on what you're supposed to do, you'll be fine through it if you're on your higher vibe. So just stay focused. This is going to be a real time. And it's great what you're doing to bring people together on a weekly basis. Pep talks, hey, we can do this. Hang in there. We've got this. Here's our vibe. We're staying up here. Well, I just, I'm chuckling a little bit because the words that you're using are words that I use a lot on this show. We got the same vibe. It just kills me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm like, okay, so I know everyone that's listening is totally hearing what you say because I'm constantly saying it, but now it's coming from a different voice and a different person and from a different perspective, which to me validates everything that I've been talking about for forever.
and we've had conversations around this, but we have not compared notes.
No.
So this is, I mean, if you're saying that, then it really is coming from, well, this is what I'm seeing. And you're saying, well, this is what I'm seeing. And I've got other people, and you do too, who are seeing the same thing. So it's like universe spirit has put out there where this is going. And then we have to pick up our little thread of it and do our little piece. And that's what I think. I was thinking the other day as I was out traveling. I just got back last night, and I just was thinking, this would be I've never done this because, as you mentioned, I started doing the 6 and 10 news in Fayetteville, Arkansas on Channel 29. It's still there, KTVP at 6 and 10. I was 21 years old. I was still finishing college. And so news has always been something that I was interested in. But I'm just thinking this would be a really good time to turn the news off right now.
And see, I just find it interesting because I like to watch where the chess pieces are going. However, if you watch the mainstream news, okay, so if you listen to alternative media, podcasts and stuff like that, and then you turn on something like Fox, or CNBC or whatever, and there's stuff that they don't even talk about that to me is like, I don't know, I think that's kind of important, which makes me not want to watch mainstream news at all because there's no depth, there's no content. And they just echo the same things over and over and over and over and over again.
Do what you're doing. Be your own news channel.
I don't do news. I just talk about be in the present moment.
Yeah, but you go into topics like you're saying. It's like, well, hey, look over here. This will keep you on a better line.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, to a degree, that's news. That's alternative news. Here's a different focus. Here's a different piece of the world that you can look at.
This is true.
Paul Harvey always said that editors and news organizations editorialize the news, even back in the day when they didn't boldly come out and say, here's our perspective, by what they threw in the trash can and what they put on the air. And it's the same thing now. I mean, we can editorialize a high timeline vibe just by what we focus on and what we talk about.
True.
Get enough, again, this very well. Get enough people together focused on that higher vibe, and we can change this planet.
Yes, sir. Anyway, Tom, I'm looking at the time. I'm going to let you go. I so appreciate this. This is great. We need to do this again. And
I'm around. Be glad to. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
And again, his webpage is High Timeline Lives.
Living. High Timeline Living. Yeah. Living.com.
It's that. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Dr. Rita.
Happy New Year.
Have good readings, everybody. Good night. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was Tom Miller. Wasn't that excellent? Okay, so in addition to having a guest today, which was so fun, don't you think? I have something else new that I am implementing starting today. And so if you go to soulhealer.com and go to that Rita Louise Live, I have some new things that you can do. And so there are 3 categories. One is you can get a shout out. And these are fee driven. So just saying that fee driven. So you can get a shout out. You can get me to say happy birthday. You can get me to do a little promo for your business, whatever. Now, if you get to the show late and you're at the back of the chat line and you're worried you're not going to get in, you can jump the line. And when that message comes through, you will be the next person in the queue. Or if you have a personal question you would like to ask, so you don't get a card, you can ask me, hey, I'm in this relationship. What do you think? You can ask me a very specific personal question, and that's called Ask Dr. Rita. And so those are all available on soulhealer.com. And I have a little running thing on the bottom to kind of fill you in on all of that. And so there's like a gajillion comments in here. And so I am going to just kind of start at the top and do my thing. But again, if you want to ask a personal question or you want to jump the line because you're a little concerned that I haven't got to you because I'm just getting started, and there were people here at quarter of, just to let you know, then you might want to consider jumping the line and you would be the next in the queue. Okay, so first up tonight is Christine. Hey, Christine, Happy New Year. And she says, hello, Happy New Year. How did the holidays go? My holidays were great. I rested and kind of didn't do hardly anything, which is rare. May I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you. And you sure can have a reading number 3, Christine. So what did you think about having a guest on the show? I thought that was pretty fun. Okay, it was even less work for me. So okay, so Christine, here's your card for today. And let's see. So Christine, I feel like you are already kind of in that vibe, in that nudge vibe of moving forward. I feel like there are some things that you feel guided to do. I feel like there are things that are wanting to take off for you. But there's part of you that is like, well, is this really real? Is this just me having my imagination? I feel like there's doubt in the promptings you're receiving. But I feel like it is very strong in you right now. So pay attention. Maybe take a couple of notes down. It's like, well, what about this? And just, make a little one-line note. Because if it keeps repeating, then that is spirit talking to you. And it is you receiving guidance to move forward on that. Cool. See, you're starting this new year off right. Okay, and see, we already have a thing from Thomas. Oh, I got a tip from Thomas. Wow, he comes on the show and leaves me a tip. Sweet. Thank you, Thomas. I love you. All right. Next in line is Unar. Hey, Unar. She says, good evening, Dr. Rita and friends. My New Year's resolution is to stop procrastinating starting next year. Okay, time's up. I hope you're not talking about 2027 because technically that would be next year. Anyway, I have you pick a number tonight. You sure can. And so you guys, if you're at the bottom of that line, you might want to, go to soulhealer.com or soulhealer.com/live and jump the line. Okay, so I did a 3 for you, Unar. Ooh. So you have a mass card. So if there's anybody new listening to the show, a mass card indicates where there's some of your energy that's blocked or stuck or you're in denial about, and it's backed up. So I am just going to pull cards. Okay. All right, actually, I'm going to go with this one. So that's the card I'm going to go with. Even though, Unar, you had some really great cards in here, like high vibrating cards in here, but I wasn't feeling completion in it. So, Unar, I get the impression that there's something going on in your life right now that you're needing to make a decision about, because I feel like all of the good energy is in the decision. And I know you already know what road you're supposed to pick, but you're worrying about it and you're not taking the step down that road. But once you open that door to move into that energy, one, it's not going to close, but there's all this like super good vibe sitting behind it. And again, for you, I feel like there's a feeling that it's kind of fantasy on your part, but I'm feeling the impression I'm getting is that it's good. And I feel like it's been sitting there for quite a while. and just wanting to come out and be and explode. And maybe you were waiting for this one vibration or this new energy to come through, and that's possible. So now you've heard from me, you've heard from Tom. It's time to do it. All right, so let's see. ERT Radio says, "Wow, got here right on time." And then he says, "Your hair looks amazing as always. May I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you." You sure can. All right, ERRT Radio. Interesting. All right, that's your card for today. So ERT Radio, I'm feeling like you're not feeling really grounded today. I almost get the impression that you're just not feeling really good today, which is leaving you feel ungrounded. I think the biggest thing I want to say to you is to have that be okay and just give yourself permission to be in that space and to allow it to do what it's going to do, because you have no control. You're on the ride and you have no control over when it's going to stop. I don't feel like it's going to be a long ride, but it is a ride that you're going to have to take to its conclusion, or at least to a point where you can jump off and move on to something different. But don't be upset. Don't be frustrated, because it just is. It just is. All right, let's see. And it's Amy. Oh, I missed someone. So we have Lord of Ink. Hi, Lord of Ink. You're a new name. Thanks for coming to the show. So if you would like a reading, please leave me a number between 1 and 3, and hopefully I can get to you. Or you can go to soulhealer.com/live and jump the line for a quick and easy $5. But if you put in a number, you're going to be at the bottom. Sorry. All right, and we have Amy. Hey, Amy, Happy New Year. And Amy, while Thomas was talking, I was thinking about you and all the changes you've made in yourself and that listening thing. So I just want to validate that. Oh, there's Lord of Ink again. All right, and he would like a number 1. Okay, Lord of Ink, you sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so Lord of Ink, this is kind of weird, and you're showing me this machinery or equipment. I mean, like big wheels and sprockets, and I'm not really understanding what that's trying to imply. Okay, so, and I don't mean to be personal, but I'm just going to be personal because that's what I do. So I get the impression, Lord of Ink, that you tend to put this stuff up in front of you because there's this very soft and sensitive person on the inside that you don't necessarily want or like to be exposed. I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability in that. So it's just easier or safer to just kind of put this mechanistic front out there for people to see. So maybe 2026 will give you the opportunity to let that go, or to create a doorway in it so that you can actually exit to the outside of that and participate more with the world around you. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm a little too personal there, but it is what it is. Let me know what you think. And we have Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany, Happy New Year. And she says, may I have a reading number 3, please? And you sure can, Tiffany. And thank you for coming to the show tonight. You look like a new name as well. And I hope you come back. Same with Lord of Ink. After that reading, I hope you come back. Okay, Tiffany, so that's your card for today. So Tiffany, when I feel into your energy, it just feels kind of low. You are projecting to me some pain that is, I'm going to say, sitting on the surface. I mean, I just feel like your energy feels beat up. And I feel like you're confused as to what you should do, what you need to do, what you can do to change the energy. You know, and I'm going to give you the advice that I've given other people. It's like, you know, sometimes in order to change something, we have to do something a bit drastic. And we normally know what we need to do. In our heart, we know what we need to do. We just don't want to, because our fear of doing the other thing is greater than our... We would rather put up with the bullshit than make the change. And sometimes making the change is what is freeing versus staying and tolerating what is intolerable. You know, so perhaps that's something that you should look at. And with this new energy vibration, maybe that's what you're being drawn to do. And I just heard the jing, so maybe... No, that wasn't. Hey, you guys. That was just an email. Okay, so that was Tiffany. Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne. Happy New Year. May I have a reading number 3? You sure can, Yvonne. Uh-oh, Yvonne. Okay, another mask card, one for Yvonne. And I'm going to go with this one because it was a yucky card and then another mask. So we're not going to go there. So I'm going to go with this card for you because this felt pretty clearing for you. Okay, Yvonne. So Yvonne, this is pretty interesting. I feel like you have... You know, I don't want to say you're ready to explode, but I feel like you've gone to the point where you're ready to take the leap of faith. You're ready to take everything that was in the past and blow it up, burn it down, and start on something very new. I feel like, well, I just get the impression that spirit kind of leads you quite a bit these days. And it has been pushing you in this direction. And I feel like when you look back at where you've been, you're like, God, what was I thinking? And I feel like you're moving into this new year, this new energy with kind of a new sense of purpose. Maybe not a direction per se, but with the understanding of that wasn't working. And so I'm going to come up with a new strategy, and not necessarily in the things that you're doing out there, but how you're dealing with it inside, so that what you're doing on the inside turns up into what's going on externally to you. Okay. Let's see. And we have Marco in the house. Hey, Marco. Hey, Marco. All right. Okay, lots of commentary, lots of commentary. All right, another new name here. Light 12 Behold. Hi, Light 12 Behold. Welcome to the show. You're a new name. And then we have Zin. I'm just going to call you Z because I ain't even going to try to pronounce that. And Z would like a reading for 2026. So 2026 is a 1 year. So I'm going to do a 1 shuffle for you, Z. Okay. And that's your card for today. So Z, I feel like there's part of you that is rising from the ashes. I feel like you had been, okay, not in the present, but had been in a restrictive, controlling, like you couldn't be used situation. And I feel like that energy has shifted, you know, so the what it feels like is you changed your job, you ended a relationship, you moved. I mean, kind of big things. And you're experiencing this sense of freedom and this ability to feel safe again. And so I bet you feel great on the inside. Good, whatever you're doing, good job. Okay, so I'm just letting you know I still have quite a few to do. And so if you would like to jump that line, soulhealer.com/live to jump the line. Okay, so Ashera, you're asking a personal question. If you would like to go to soulhealer.com/live, and for $10, I will answer that question and you can give some more detail. I'd be happy to answer that on air. All right, Amy says, "May I have a number 2 reading, please, tonight?" You sure can, Amy. Okay, and that's your card for today. Amy, the word that's coming up for me, and I know I just said this in the last reading, but I just am feeling like you feel free. And I feel like there might be stuff going on around you, but you're not letting it affect you. It's kind of like you are in observation mode and the world can blow up over there. And it's like, the world blew up. Okay, I'm good. And just going from there, I feel like you're in a very grounded and whole place right now. And so whatever you're doing, keep up that good work. And Dawn's here. Let's see. Hi, Dr. Rita. Happy New Year. Are you doing any readings? Number 1 would be nice. You sure can, Dawn. You got in the wire. Number 1 for Dawn. Okay. Nope. Go ahead. All right. And that's your card for today. So Dawn, you know, I want to say that you're beating yourself up, you know, and maybe you're just feeling sorry for yourself. You know, I get that for some people, and I'm going to put you in this category, that the holidays are a little bit challenging to work through. I'm going to say they're almost over. And next week, you can go back to being where you're at, but perhaps you learned a lesson this year about the discomfort that you experienced during the holiday season. And maybe you can make a different choice of what you're doing through that time period so that you feel better and you don't end up in this weird bluesy place. And you have a whole year to kind of figure that out. Okay? Okay. Okay, and we have Jennifer and would like a reading. You sure can. You got here in the nick of time. One card. So I'm just guessing one shuffle because, okay. And Jennifer, that's your card for today. So Jennifer, I'm feeling like 2026, and I don't predict the future, so I'll bring it back to what I'm seeing right now. But I'm seeing this little light shining inside of you. And when I acknowledge that light, what you keep telling me is, I thought it was dead, or I thought I was dead, or I thought that light was extinguished inside of me. And I want to validate that that light is there, and that light can be nurtured, and that light can move and grow and get bigger so that you can own more of yourself and more of your space and have more autonomy over your life. And I feel like that's something that you've had in the past, but has been taken away from you, or you gave it up or whatever. But no, that light is still there and it will never go out, because that's just not how you fly. So nurture it, blow air on it, send it love and blessings so that it can continue to grow and radiate from you in your space in 2026. And it's Narcy. Happy New Year, Narcy. I've been thinking about you. We need to talk. And I still have your silverware. And one day I'll give it back to you. Okay. Wow, Austin, that was a very quick trip. So Austin exits America. Hello from Thailand. Can I have a reading tonight, number 3? Austin, you sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. All right, Austin, let's see. What do you have going on? So Austin, I feel like how do I want to present this? So what you keep showing me is this image of the moon, and this very reflective place that I'm hoping that you're in. And I'm hoping that you're using the energy of the new year to reset yourself, reset your goals, reset your energy. I know that the last time that I did a reading for you, your energy was great. And I feel like it's a little diminished right now, and that there's some purging that you need to do and regrouping that you need to do. And so I don't know, you keep showing me the moon. So I don't know if they're suggesting that you go and look at the night sky, or that the energy is going to shift with the full moon, but perhaps go out and just enjoy the night, take in the night, use that as a place where you can get into the present moment to help you shed anything that you're holding on to so that you can regroup in your new location. Okay, sweetie? Okay. So Pierre is here and he says, you are both right. Love the way you say it. Thank you. All right, let's see. Okay. Bradley's here. He says number 2, please. Sure can. Okay, so there's 5 minutes left. So if you would like to get that last reading in, jump the line, $5. It's a bargain at any price. All right, Bradley, that's your card. Okay. So Bradley, you're giving me the impression that a lot of your energy is out in the future, trying to like solve the world. And I would like for you to bring your attention and your focus back in. You can't do anything, fix anything, change anything with your energy out there as much as it is. I mean, it's one thing to go out there and tap into it to do a little planning, but I feel like it's there too much. And so I'm suggesting bring that energy in because it'll leave you feeling more whole and more nurtured all at the same time. Okay, sweetie? All right. Okay, light 12, behold. Could swear I gave you a reading already. But I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to do a number 2. Okay, and I'm going to do one more after that. And, okay. Light 12, behold. So light, you got a mass card. And so I'm just going to pull cards till I feel it clears. Okay. So that's the card I'm pulling for you. So light, I get the impression that you are experiencing some duality in your space. There's like part of you wants to do this, but another part of you wants to do that. And I feel like they're not jiving. They're not giving you a single unified direction to move into. And I just would like to suggest something very simple. You know, do some meditation, do some journaling so you can flush out this is what this thing is, and this is what this thing is, so I can make a better choice, or I can combine the best of both worlds together to come out with a singular solution. Okay? Okay, so Jess Knox, you're my last for tonight, and would like a number 2. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Jess, I don't know how old you are, but I feel like there are opportunities that are being presented to you and doors that are being opened for you. And you just need to sit there and jump over the fence and take that step forward and not be afraid. I feel like you are being supported by spirit, and the door wouldn't open if it wasn't meant for you to walk through. And so if you're hitting fear, if you're hitting second thoughts, listen to them, but usually it's a fear-based thing and something that you should take into consideration. And if it's just fear, move through it, because fear is the thief of dreams and will keep you from getting what you want every single time. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got some insights about 2026. I am so glad to be back. I am looking forward to this upcoming year. I hope you like the changes that I've implemented in the show. All right, I got to turn this thing off. I have like way too many buttons now to push. So hopefully I'm able to keep things on track. But until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.